You're listening to part 2 of a conversation between Joanna Rakoff, author and Swiftie, and Tamara Federici, producer of Every Band Ever. Tamara is currently determining once and for all if Bon Iver is a person or band and was unable to record this week's episode. We'll be back soon, you sexy animals. Once again, you're listening to a conversation between Joanna Rakoff and Tamara Federici, already in progress.
You're listening to a special 3 a.m. drop of a bonus conversation between Joanna Rakoff, author and Swiftie, and Tamara Federici, producer of Every Band Ever, already in progress.
She writes how you feel, not how you want to appear saying something. You know what I mean? It's like the stupid things that you feel and all of the complex ways that works about like, I wish I wasn't like this, but I'm having all these crazy feelings and I feel really nervous and sad and scared and this boy doesn't like me. And, you know, if you're telling people you're going to make it in a cooler way, or if you're making a song about it, you're going to do it in like, you know, most dudes especially, it's going to be a thing where they're in control and they are being too cool for school and, you know, whatever, and they're rocking out. And hers was, she's so hard on her sleeve that that's new. And it's not like the 1950s type of, you know, courtship love of like, you know, doo-wop or something like that. It's in this way that feels like, ugh, fifth grade diary, this hurts, you know?
It's true. It's like there's a quality, a kind of open wound quality that I think almost anyone can relate to. Do you think that she is like an actual genius? Like, I mean, is there anyone who produces as many songs as she does, as rapidly as she does?
I mean, Beyonce.
Do you think, though?
Maybe
Beyonce doesn't
Springsteen
seem
in the 70s.
prolific.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Bruce Springsteen, that's right.
Right. So when he was so young, they were, you know, he was crafting the whole narrative about New Jersey and him and, you know, romanticism and sexy bikes and stuff like that.
Ripped jeans.
Ripped jeans, putting his butt on the cover, you know. So,
exactly. That's like an iconic image from our childhood.
Right. A butt and a hat. That's it. You don't need there's not a lot of art design in a butt and a hat. And that's all you need. But also, yeah. So I don't know. Those are the most prolific, I feel like. I'm trying to think of somebody from like the 60s who was around forever. I mean, maybe Billy Joel. Bill Joel, sorry. He likes Bill.
Yeah. The only person that I could think, I forgot about Bruce Springsteen. I don't know how that's possible, especially considering my mother-in-law went to high school with him.
Wow.
In New Jersey. Yes, that's real. But or supposedly she did. They didn't know each other. They went to the same high school. It's unclear. Anyway, but the only other person I could think of was actually Elvis Costello, who I'm also a super fan of. Like, I was one of those kids who the first thing I put up in my dorm room when I got to college was like an oversized Trust poster that the guy at my local record shop had given me. He was like, we're going to throw this out. Do you want it? And I was like, yes, I do. I want it. And so I don't know, maybe I have some kind of obsession with really prolific artists who write tortured but upbeat pop songs.
Yeah, I was going to say that Elvis Costello has that amazing song. Oh gosh, I Want You is one of the most haunting songs. Yes, I just feel like that
sounds like he's ripping his vocal cords out of his body.
God. That torment. Yeah, his parents are super nice. His dad was a musician, and you know, he started out, that was his family business stuff. So
I did not know that. I actually know nothing about him except that he is married to Diana Krall now, right?
Yeah, because he always goes, my lovely wife, Diana Krall.
So I have so many questions. It's hard to choose just one. I know that Taylor Swift is famously very, very private, you know, despite the fact that she really, you know, is very confessional in her songs. I know that she's private, and I can sense that you're trying to not in any way betray her trust or her confidence, because that would obviously be horrible for you. But I wondered, I was curious about Jack Antonoff. So I actually really like his band Bleachers a lot. And yeah, like his duet with Lorde, Don't Take the Money, is a favorite song of mine. And I was curious, like, I know, that you know a lot about him and have worked with him. And I was curious, like, what his influence was on Taylor Swift. Or maybe I can call her Taylor since I'm talking
You
to you.
can. What is she goes? Sometimes she goes by, it's a sort of sparkle group. Sometimes she goes by Sparkle Pony, but that is an actual other band. So we don't call her that
Yes.
much. That's others. That's others. That's
Pony.
her boyfriend, he is, when I have been, the last time I worked with her, he was off working on Male Splash. So he was doing that. And so I didn't get to meet him at all. I've never met him. But Jack Antonoff is, he's just always been with her. He's really easy because he, in addition to being Lena Dunham's ex that he benefited from in the public eye, and then became a producer in his own right, he is really easy to trust. So I think that's why all these performers of the same age, and even Bruce Springsteen, who did a duet with him, I think that's why they like working with him, because I think he is a different breed. Besides me, of being in the studio with somebody who's not, overbearing. Also, we're coming out of the people who are like abusive in the studio to like female performers.
Right. Yes.
And you can't, he just seems like he is a different type of producer and very inclusive, and he can get the best out of people because of who he, I think he just wants people to do the best work, and he's also encouraging.
Yeah.
Let me try to think of one story about him. Is that I think one time Taylor, I guess this is 1989. I think it's 1989. She was a little bit down about how recording was going, and of course was sensitive to criticism. And he brought in a whole bunch of baby deer, and he just let her feed it.
Whoa.
Yeah, so she just she opened her hand and like fed them, and then he said, "Okay, well now let's try that take again." And
Oh my God.
and they got it right. And then the same thing. I think it wasn't Blank Space. It was what was the one on 1989? Oh no, it was Lover. The Lover album was, he knew that trick worked. So what he got was he actually flew in individually 100 different rabbits, different kinds, big ones, small ones, floppy-eared ones, right? So when she came into the room, it was a piano, and it was just sick with rabbits. So she had to push those rabbits off of the piano. And then she sat down and wrote Lover, which is really different than a lot of the songs on that album. But it was because of the furry rabbits and the two-finger rabbit pet. I don't know if you know what that is. You can touch the rabbits, but very gently. So you just kind of appreciate them. Yeah. So that was what happened with that. Was we just filled the room with animals, and then I assume he took those back. I don't. Maybe they're still there. Maybe they probably died.
That's a lot of rabbit poop.
It's a lot of rabbits. I mean, I would suggest it.
Rabbit.
You did.
Yeah, a lot of chewing through cords as well. But
there was only one take on that album, and that's why. I mean, of that song, and that's why. Because
oh my God! Wow.
Yeah, somewhere
That's
in the amps.
I didn't know that she loved animals, but it makes sense.
Yeah. He built her a log cabin for Bad Blood, because she needed the inner rage and the alone time, and so she just went online and looked at comments in that log cabin, and then she was ready, right? Yeah, so he kind of goes all out for that, and yeah, I'll just kind of oversee some of that, and then I just let him do what he does, because he's He's good at it.
He is. His arrangements are incredible. Yeah, and he has a really distinctive sound, I think. Like he gets this kind of the artists he worked with, so many of whom are women, he gets them to sort of have a sort of urgency to their songs. No matter what, no matter if they're sort of like more angry or more sweet or more happy, there's an urgency to them. That's what I've noticed about his work. And I was so curious, like you can kind of tell a Jack Antonoff album. So I was curious, um, does Taylor Swift eat food or does she just subsist on like pixie dust?
Both. She will mix the pixie dust in with blended food, and she'll eat that. And then she also has a person whose job is just to press the food or to squish it down. So she can, it's a little easier if it's sort of like pre-mashed. And so she'll do that. It's a sort of grapes. She can do that with a chicken. There's somebody who just mashes the chicken by hand, which is,
Oh,
yeah. So when you get to a certain level as an artist, they just, I think the Grammys sort of give you one for the first year if you win a Grammy, and then beyond that, you're on your own to find your own chicken presser. But people do it, I mean, especially in LA.
that makes sense. Because I mean, yeah, she's so prolific. It seems like she doesn't have time to eat, and that's why she needs just like someone to just hand her a smoothie,
Right,
right?
exactly. Does
And
that
she's
happen
just like,
when you're writing? Do you have a person like that?
I don't, but I wish I did because I am kind of that same personality type, in which I will get just very involved, especially when it's a book, when it's a long project or a screenplay or whatever, and I will just work without stopping, and I'll barely register that I'm starving, but I just don't want to stop for more than a second. So I wish I had someone to just press a chicken for me and be
Mhm.
like, here, just put this in your mouth.
I have a number of a sandwich man that I will give you after the podcast.
Oh, that would be great. That
He
would
will
be
stand by
amazing.
the door and just hand you a sandwich, and people swear by this guy.
Thank
He's
you.
great.
Yeah, I wish there were a service for, creatives or what have you. I mean, I guess maybe if I win a National Book Award or
Mhm.
something, my equivalent of a Grammy, I'll get my own chicken presser
Yeah,
for a year.
they should start that. I mean, you need to eat
Yeah,
something more than
it's
just a basket by the door, too. No, none of that Hedgebrook stuff. You need your own. You got to have a sandwich man. It's a life changer.
my other Taylor question is I wondered her songs to me have an unusually literary quality. There are allusions to literature. I mean, the probably most famous one would be like in Love Story when she's like, "Because you were Romeo, I was the Scarlet Letter." Doesn't totally make sense, but that's okay.
She's so much
But
smaller than him physically. They
exactly,
can't have, nobody can have sex with an A. This doesn't match up.
it feels really hard. Yeah,
Where does
yes.
that
Or
go?
I was
In the
thinking like
A?
character book. Like they're not like in terms of SAT questions, they're not analogous. They're two different things. But I actually love that line and I get what she's going for. Like she's sort of saying, you know, I was a person who was defined by scandal and kind of scorned by my family and my community. Um, not, I presumably not for having premarital sex and getting pregnant in colonial America, but in like a witch trial sort of way. But yeah, anyway, I get what she's trying to do there and I like it. And I wondered, is she a big reader? Like now, because of social media, we see so much of, like what Reese Witherspoon is reading and what Sarah Jessica Parker is reading and what I don't even know who this person is, but like somehow I know her name, like what Kaya Gerber is reading. She has like a whole Instagram about what she's reading. But I wondered, like Taylor Swift, I've always wondered, is she someone who reads a lot?
She does read a lot, and in fact, we did have a line in Love Story, and it said it's not analogous. So she actually knew that it wasn't like, she already knew, but it was sort of in the middle of it. It was sort of like, do we need to step back and explain, it, or are we just going to go forward? And it was just, we felt like we should move on from that. But she knows when that happens. So she's a really
Yeah.
great reader. She's the next project after Midnight's is going to be called Ulysses, and it's going to be from the point of view of a lot of people in that book. And it's going to sound like a sea shanty because she hasn't gone in that direction before. You know, she's gone pop, now sonic. You know, Reputation was oddball, and you know she's never even come close to sea shanty. So she's actually going to be going to you know, Ireland, and she's also going to go on a pirate ship, spend a month there, sort of glamping, whatever glamping is on a pirate ship. And
I wonder if she's
you know,
coming to the Cape because you can do that. You know, it's a big New England thing, the whole pirate ship glamping
so maybe she's
situation.
going
You can't even wear
yeah.
like pirate clothing. And you have these pirate guides like off that you sort of leave from Provincetown, that area.
Yeah,
So,
Aaron Dessner is sending some Yar samples, and that's going to kind of speed up the bedrock of that. And then there's also going to be a couple of doubloon sax, and Jackie Sparkles is going to have it. He's just going to be like shaking those, so it's going to have that background of you know, shaking doubloons. And doubloons are expensive, and she's actually just outright purchased them. So those are in a vault. But they'll come out, you know, for the rehearsal sessions. Yeah. Yeah.
It makes me think that, I mean, she's done so many duets and collaborations. I love her duet with Ed Sheeran, even though I have absolutely no interest in Ed Sheeran's music by himself. But yeah, I mean, you probably have lots of stories.
He's a different guy. You know, he's kind of, what you see is what you get type of guy.
Really?
Like,
he's just like, doo-doo-doo. Like,
yeah. He kind of was like, I want to write a song about this sweater, and it's like, you go for it, Ed Sheeran. You're gonna do that. You know what I mean? That's gonna happen, right? My sweater reminds me of you. But then Taylor Swift also wrote a song about a sweater, and that worked out for her. So, you know,
she did. But her song was kind of, you know, profound and wonderful.
I have one question for you, and it's 12:25. But have you heard the new album?
Yes, I have. So, you know, my husband popped in and I said, he loves Taylor Swift. And he was like, I like Taylor Swift. And,
Yes.
and I feel like I should explain that he is a composer of classical music. And so I feel like maybe he has to say, I only like Taylor Swift. But he actually, you know, it came out at midnight, and the next morning, at about 7 a.m., we woke up, and while I was drinking coffee, he put it on our very elaborate stereo system.
Oh,
and
wow.
so I've actually only listened to it a few times, but I think it's great. I really like it. I know some people are saying that they like the second half of the album better than the first half, but I think it starts off like really strong. I love the first song on it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's it. The first song is Lavender Haze. But yeah, I don't know what I guess. Yeah, what was your favorite song on it?
I'm just looking at the song list.
Oh, well, you're looking at the song list. I can tell you that we did I do have some lyrics that we didn't put in this album. So they're just here's one that did not make it. Pink eye, red dress, can you guess what happened? Really guess what happened? I forgot to wash my hands.
Really, I'm sad that Can You Guess What Happened didn't make it on that scene. Sounds like it could be so good. Maybe it will be on like a kind of extended version of it at some point.
I think we're going to do a drop in a month because nobody is going to be expecting that. It's just going to be this song. Perhaps if we retool it, because nobody does the one song drop after a 3 a.m. drop. You're not expecting it in November. Come on.
Yeah,
so
that's so true.
like
Definitely. November's a dead month. Like between Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's like nothing. I'm just looking at the list, and I'm not sure I can choose a favorite song, but I really like the song Karma.
Oh yeah. Are you
I love Lavender Haze. I love Anti-Hero. I really like Vigilante Shit. But Karma is the one that kind of stuck out to me when I first listened to it.
Because of the themes in her life about karma, or because of the happiness of karma?
Honestly, just because of the melody. Because I've only listened to it a few times, so I don't even know what all the lyrics are.
All right.
I'm still at the kind of just, I feel like there's kind of like an arc with a Taylor Swift album. it comes out, I'm like, this is different. What's happening here? And sometimes, like as with Reputation, I was like, I don't like this, and with Lover, I had the same thing. This is not what I expected. I don't want this. No, not what I wanted. Not what I expected. No, this is bad. What was she thinking? Why would she do this? No. And then I listened to it a bunch more times and I'm like, this is genius. I love this. This is exactly what I want. She wrote this album for me. And I will say with Midnights, I did not have that arc. I listened to it and I was like, this is great. It did register as different than the last two albums, but not in a way that made me think, I don't want this. What's she doing? What is going on here? One of my children actually did have that response. My daughter, Pearl, who's in 8th grade, she is a huge Swiftie. Like she and her friends sit around and sort of decide to rank all of their favorite Taylor Swift songs. She did not like it, but now she does. So yes. Anyway, thank you for giving me this opportunity to grill you. I've been trying to be really restrained and not my normal reporter self. But thank you. I have no one except my kids to talk about Taylor Swift with, so thank you, Tamara.
Wow, that was crazy. For updates, go to Every Band Ever on Instagram. Joanna Rakoff is the author of the international best-selling memoir My Salinger Year and the best-selling novel A Fortunate Age. The film adaptation of the memoir opened in theaters worldwide in 2021 starring Margaret Qualley and Sigourney Weaver. Her new memoir, The Fifth Passenger, is forthcoming from Little Brown in 2024. Tamara Federici tried to tell you. The editor is Will Velasquez. The audio engineer is Clark Jackson. Thanks for listening. See you next week. She works hard for the money, so hard for it. Honey, she works hard for the money, so you better treat her right. Good night.